Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another ship from mod.io, and this one is called the New-Order-Starlight, which is this glorious thing that I'm currently standing on. So this is a large block hydrogen-powered ship that features an impressive array of firepower and a fairly large and very cozy interior, which we'll look at a bit later. Pressing F10 and finding this in the spawn menu, the New-Order-Starlight is 1,743 large blocks, using one hell of a lot of the DLC packs, but we've got no information whatsoever, so simply give this a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, a quick tour of the interior, then we'll go and test out those guns against another little ship sitting in the distance to see how much carnage we can create. So at the very front, this is what we get. So we can see one hell of a lot of grey steel blocks with some artillery cannons in the middle to blast your enemies with. Going along the top and the bottom, a bunch of assault cannon turrets. And if we were to move around onto the side with the sunlight, we'll see the start of some white and yellow blocks to break up all the grey going around this ship. So we see some great use of our number blocks with the 2 and the 3. As we are to move along on the side there, we see all the turrets along the top and the bottom. And we do have some very fancy landing legs that are on hinges that when we click a button from the helm inside, they're going to fold all the way down and allow you to safely land on these without damaging the turrets underneath. If we were to pull up just a little bit and continue along the side, there's some more great use for our letter blocks spelling out star. Over to this section, this is our hydrogen thruster pod, where on the side we do have it connected to dock this thing up, load it up with more hydrogen, and of course ammunition. We have to look it up from this side. There we go, we see we've got 4 hydrogen thrusters, and we can see how the armor plates on the side have been connected up by some beam blocks, and of course a conveyor for that connector. Moving all the way up and looking down, ignoring the part on the side that I added earlier when I need to check something, we've got some more hydrogen thrusters, some more grey, yellow and white blocks. Around towards the back of this thing, 4 more hydrogen thrusters, and there's another landing leg. If we were to pull away from that, look at the very back of this thing, this is what's going to push us around. So we've got 8 small hydrogen thrusters, 2 large hydrogen thrusters, and once again a 2 and a 3. Just above that, we've got ourselves a sliding door, 2 of them to act as an airlock to get inside, and this is one of 2 doors to be able to get into this ship. If you were to move all the way up and above, got a large radar dish, which you don't really see too often on ships. I think this is actually the first ship I've seen with the large radar attached onto it, which usually is more of a base structure. Anyway, going along the middle there, we can see our hydrogen thrusters at the back there. That is where I'm standing. Going along the side there, we can see our turrets, and of course some more armoured panels to make sure we're nice and protected on the interior. And towards the front there, there's another turret, and there is the very front of our artillery cannons. Dropping down and coming underneath, once again, more assault turrets. There's our landing legs with our hinges. We see our curved conveyors going along there, making a nice feature along the bottom. And of course, going along towards the main body, there's another large hydrogen thruster. We can see how our curved conveyors have been used as decorative features, going along towards that large hydrogen thruster. And at the back there, there's our landing legs and even more thrusters. And there we go. That's a very brief look around the outside of the New-Order-Starlight, and it does look great with how it's all been set up. Not sure what happened there, sort of unloaded all the textures. But now what I can do, grab hold of my character, and we come in through that top door. So we need to come all around towards the very back, past our radar dish, next to our hydrogen thrusters, all the way up, and there is our doorway. Opening that up, slides all the way down. As soon as we step inside, that'll close up behind us, and now we can safely open this up without losing any oxygen. And this is what we're instantly greeted with. So this is our command center where we're going to have a bunch of people around our control seats, and we do have a lovely carbon fiber floor, and some nice safety rails to make sure you don't fall down the steps. So these control seats here are not set up for anything, it's only going to be the ones at the very front. We do have a nice sitting area with some planters and of course our corner chairs, 2 flight seats and our main helm to drive this thing around, a bunch of LCD screens at the front there, and we do have a great view at our turrets at the front there so we can see they're firing, and of course the destruction they are reaping. Turning around and coming across to the steps, we've got our air vent to make sure we don't suffocate, and as we were to walk all the way down, we come around a corner, further down. Now we're going to come across to our medical bay, where we've got our large medical bay block, we've got a bunch of time locks, we've got our armory lockers, and we do have a cargo access in the floor there in case we do want to load stuff up or pull stuff out. Turning around and continuing down the steps, this comes to our living quarters. We've got a bunch of chairs around here, some great use for our planters, and some really nice use of these dark grey blocks. Now these are such a simple design, but they're so impactful on this entire area, they just work so well. Just the grey blocks against the orange, with planters sitting in the middle. BS turning around, another air vent to make sure we don't suffocate, a button panel with nothing set up, a doorway which is going to lead us to the outside, so this is our second way in and out, and just closing that up, turning around, we got a little living quarter type area, but I suppose this could be like a meeting area. We're just going to sit around this table and discuss what's going on and what's being projected on that table. But coming past this, past our gate, we've got one hell of a lot of cargo containers and a jump drive at the back there, so we can jump 2,000 kilometers, which is very nice for a large ship. Because look at all these cargo containers lining up the wall, and on the opposite side. Just coming into here and checking what we've got. So here we go. A lot of cargo containers. There's our O2H2 generators, thrusters, lights, even more thrusters. There's our hinges, gyroscopes, and of course all the decorative pieces around, as well as our weapons. Looking up, I did miss out there is a reactor there to give it some power. And we can now come out of here, close this up, come back to the very top. So it's time to drive this thing around. So here we are back in the bridge. Now we're not going to go into the two flight seats because they have nothing going on with them. But if you did want to set them up, you could always have manual control over the turrets, which could be very useful if you want to do some long-range sniping. But for the moment, we're going to come up to this helm, enter into it, because these are the only controls we get. So number one is going to be to take remote control over the ship, which will allow you to use the camera right next to our bridge, so we get a good view of what's going on ahead of us. Coming out of that and into third-person view, these next two controls are going to be for our landing legs underneath. Try and get the sun back around so we get a good view of what's going on. There we go. Number 2 is going to be to lock and unlock them. Number 3 is going to be to deploy them, and it is going to take quite some time for them to get all the way around, but you can see exactly what they're going to do. Number 4 is then to take over our artillery cannons at the front, so we can just click that and fire them. Number 5 is for our turrets all the way around the ship on and off. Number 6 for our hydrogen engine on and off. Number 7 for our hydrogen tank to stockpile on and off. Number 8 is for our connector to lock and unlock it. And number 9 is for our jump drive to jump 2,000 kilometers. So what we're going to do now is drive this thing around, test it out, then we're going to give it to the space pirates and see how it handles the ship right next to me. That ship has got a lot of guns on it, so it's going to be interesting to see which one comes out on top. But moving forwards, this is what we get. As you'd expect, it's bloody fast thanks to those thrusters and the back. Coming to a stop, we are a little bit slower, but we do just about have the gyroscope controls to do a 180 to stop ourselves a bit quicker. Moving left, that's what we get, and moving right, we are quite slow with that. Moving down, a little bit better than left and right, but nowhere near as fast as forwards and backwards. And then moving up, I feel that's fastest out of everything else, which is always nice when you're on a planet. Then as for gyroscope controls, this is what we get, and as we saw from the 180, we've got a nice sort of control over this. It's very heavy, very meaty, and it does suit this size of ship. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to hop out of this seat. I'm now going to make sure I can use all controls and make sure I'm invulnerable. Hop back into here, come into this, and now we're going to give absolutely everything to the space pirates. We are going to be right next to them, so they are going to open fire. But 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Now going to take over that. And hopefully... there we go, the other ship has opened fire. Are we going to open fire? I'm not sure it actually is. There it goes, there goes some of the turrets. I might need to aim up. There goes all of them. Looks like they were slightly out of range. But we lost one of our side panels. I'm going to come in here and find our turrets just to make sure they are on maximum range. There we go, they are on 600. Let's open that up a bit more. Now we're just going to drive around and look at all the shots bouncing off it. I do love that effect. It's only a visual effect of it rebounding across. But look at that, it's like we're shooting in the opposite direction. But unfortunately, as I expected, we are going to be ripped to shreds by this other ship because it is much larger. So the only thing left to do, of course, is to slam it straight into there, do as much damage as possible with the full body of this ship. But I don't think we're going to be able to. I think we've just been shot out of it, and the helm has been destroyed. In fact, I'm still sitting in the chair, still wobbling around. So I need to try and get hold of myself and come all the way back to this rear seat, and hopefully I can take over it. Yes, I can. Let's charge forwards. And here we go, straight into the side. And it looks like we just did more damage to this ship than to the large one. The ship below me is also from Mod.io. It's a very, very big ship. And like I said, one hell of a lot of guns on there. But that is that for the Starlight ship. It is a lovely large ship. If you do wish to download and play around with it in your world. It's got a lovely interior and nice lot of firepower. But of course it will not be able to stand up to a large ship with one hell of a lot of guns on it. So there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. What happened there? Oh my god. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video somewhere soon. Bye bye.